What if a commercial airline pilot saw something at 37,000 feet? That should not exist. And what if, at the exact same time, the government quietly erased evidence that might explain it? Today's episode, JetBlue meets UFO, and the CIA says nothing to see here. It starts with a single detail that doesn't make sense. A JetBlue pilot, cruising altitude 37,000 feet, clear skies over Texas. Then something appears. Not another aircraft, not weather, not a drone, a white object hovering in the distance. But here's where it gets strange. It doesn't just move, it changes. The pilot watches as the object disappears, reappears, and then begins to melt. Not metaphorically, visually. Like two shapes, two solid forms, merging into one another midair. No radar contact, no transponder, no traffic collision warning. For 5 full minutes, it's there. Then it's gone. Now pause, because this is where most people make a mistake. They think the video explains the encounter. It doesn't. It never does. Every pilot, every witness says the same thing. The video doesn't capture what we actually saw. So what did they see? Because what's emerging, again and again, are not craft in the traditional sense, but orbs, energy-like objects, shape-shifting, unpredictable, not behaving like machines, not behaving like anything we understand. And that raises the uncomfortable question. If this isn't ours, whose is it? Because let's be honest, the idea that this is Russian or Chinese technology doesn't hold up. Nations that struggle with conventional systems, suddenly deploying physics-defying craft, objects that outmaneuver fighter jets, ignore inertia, appear and vanish at will. That's not advancement. That's something else entirely. Something beyond the current model of reality. But just as this mystery is heating up, another door slams shut. A different story, a different thread, same pattern. A researcher files a request with the CIA. He's looking for something very specific. Physical evidence, UFO material, not sightings, not testimony, actual substance. And at first, there's confirmation. A document exists. It describes the material. It was examined, handled, studied, and then it's gone. Not classified, not denied, lost, just gone. Now ask yourself, how does an intelligence agency lose something like that? Because this isn't an isolated incident. It's a pattern. Documents vanish, files are redacted beyond recognition, or quietly transferred to private contractors, out of reach. Every path that leads closer to an answer disappears. And that creates 2 competing narratives. Narrative 1, the government knows everything. UFOs are secret technology, a controlled illusion, a psychological operation. Narrative 2, the phenomenon is real, but far beyond human control. So which is it? Because one of these explanations sounds comforting. The other doesn't. To understand the divide, you have to go back. Back to a man named Leon Davidson, a scientist, a government insider, someone who believed he had figured it out. His conclusion? The CIA created the UFO phenomenon. All of it. Sightings, stories, even contact accounts. A massive psychological operation designed to manipulate perception and confuse adversaries during the Cold War. It's a clean explanation, too clean, because it ignores one critical problem: scale, millions of sightings, across decades, across continents, including encounters that happened before the CIA even existed, in remote areas with no strategic value, to people who never reported them. Ask yourself, why would the government spend millions staging a sighting? For someone who never even talks about it? At some point, the explanation collapses under its own weight, because the phenomenon is too big, too widespread, too personal. And that's where things take a turn, because people who experience these encounters often describe something more than visual, something harder to define, an interaction, a presence, almost as if the phenomenon isn't just being observed, but is aware of the observer. So now we're left with a deeper question. What if these objects aren't vehicles at all? What if they're interfaces, projections, manifestations, something designed to appear in a form we can barely process? That would explain the shifting shapes, the impossible physics, the way they seem to pull elements from their surroundings and assemble themselves into something just recognizable enough to be seen. And if that's true, then disclosure isn't being withheld, because there may be nothing simple to disclose. Meanwhile, the system continues doing what it does best: deflect, delay, deny, or simply lose the evidence. So where does that leave us? Not with governments, not with agencies, not with gatekeepers, but with something much more unpredictable: each other. Pilots, witnesses, ordinary people, pointing cameras at the sky, capturing fragments, comparing experiences, building a picture from the ground up. Because if there is a truth here, it's not going to arrive in a press conference. It's going to emerge piece by piece, clip by clip, sighting by sighting. And maybe that's the real story. Not just what's in the sky, but why it refuses to be fully understood. Until next time. This is UFO Warning, and whatever is out there, it's not done showing itself.